Today I'm at the Chicago Auto Show and I have finally gotten my hands on the all-new Silverado EV. This is the very close relative of the Hummer EV, and it's a really interesting half-ton truck. This is the half-ton EV truck that I am most excited about. Unfortunately, this is not going to go on sale this year, and it's not going to really be on sale next year, depending on how you look at it. Spring of 2023, the work truck version of the Silverado EV is going to go on sale. Fall of 2023 is when the RST is going to go on sale. That is the model that I'm taking a look at today, and that's the one I think most shoppers are going to be interested in. Then at some point later, and we don't know exactly when that's going to be, the rest of the variants of the Silverado EV are going to be on sale. Design-wise, I'd love to know what you think about especially the front-end design on the new Silverado EV. This reminds me a lot of, say, a Chevy Equinox, actually. A little bit more of the crossover lineup of Chevy's lineup rather than the truck side. We have full LED headlights divorced from the headlight accent strips that run right across the front, I guess you'd say there. This design trait looks an awful lot more like, again, the crossover line than the trunk line. And because not a lot of cooling is required, this portion of the hood is, of course, just blank. The only cooling happens right down here below. Now, even though on the outside this looks an awful lot like the regular Silverado, this is not an electric vehicle conversion like the F-150 Lightning. This shares no structure, no body panel, absolutely nothing with the existing Silverado, except for the design of this multi-pro tailgate in the rear, which is very similar to the Silverado that's coming up soon, and of course the GMC Sierra that's had the multi-pro tailgate for a while. Under the body, you're going to find a dual motor setup with up to 664 horsepower and a massive battery pack. The same battery that we find in the Hummer EV, 200 kilowatt hours. Now, because this is significantly more aerodynamic than the Hummer EV and not focused on dune jumping, etc., this is going to have an EPA range of 400 miles, according to Chevy. That is currently an approximate number. I wouldn't be surprised if that number ended up going up when this actually goes on sale. Another interesting touch, depending on how you want to look at it, this is not actually a body-on-frame truck. Now, Chevy shies away from that description. They don't call this a unibody. They want to say this is somewhere in between. Here's how it goes. Rather than frame rails front to rear, having the suspension and other components bolted to that and then a body stuck on top and isolated, this one has front and rear suspension components bolted to the body, and then the battery sits in between, adding extra structure and extra support to the body. Front trunks are all the rage with EVs, so let's just start right out here. Now, due to the design of the structure and some design choices by Chevy, it is likely that this is smaller than the F-150 Lightning's front trunk, although they haven't given us an exact dimension. The one in the Hummer EV is 9 cubic feet, the one in the Lightning is just over 14 cubic feet. The big reason for that is that the front overhang in this truck is shorter. This was not designed to have a big gasoline V8 engine under the hood like the F-150 Lightning was. Instead, this was designed from the ground up to be an electric vehicle, so firewall to front end is a little bit shorter, and that's the main reason that the power front trunk is a little bit smaller. Now, we can't actually get in this vehicle, etc., because this is the only Silverado EV prototype that exists right now, so they want us to actually preserve this. But obviously, on the inside, I'll just let the camera duck in there for a second. You can see that the interior is definitely designed to be a mixture of, I would say, full-size SUV and full-size half-ton truck functionality. We have a big and generously sized interior, and unlike most half-ton trucks, we have a lot of center console storage here. This center console unit was designed for a vehicle that does not have a transmission tunnel, and that makes this a little bit different than the F-150 Lightning. Now again, I can't actually open anything or touch anything there, but we've been told that there's a lot more storage in there. Over here we have the same sort of Android automotive systems that we find in the rest of GMC's latest product lineup. Mapping interface right there, lots of EV specific information, trailer towing information, etc. Full LCD instrument cluster, power tilt telescopic steering column. There's also an integrated trailer brake controller for towing. And according to Chevy, the seating position and the seat design is very similar to the regular Silverado. Now let's take a look at the back seat. As with the F-150 Lightning, this is going to come only in one body style and one bed dimension, but it has a trick up its sleeve that we do not see in any other pickup truck in America right now, but we used to see in Chevy trucks a while ago, like the Avalanche. This mid-gate design is really cool. You can see that this opening right here, the 60% side of the rear seat, is folded down, and this allows you to put a 9-foot item from this seat bottom cushion right back here all the way back there to the bed. So this is actually going to be longer than an 8-foot bed if you want something completely inside the vehicle. Of course, most folks don't really need to carry 8-foot items all the time, which is why we don't really see many trucks with 8-foot beds anymore. And this bed is going to be perfectly functional in that respect. It is actually a little bit larger than the one that we find in the F-150 Lightning, As with GMC trucks, the Multi-Pro tailgate will function like a large step. This is definitely going to be more secure than the one that we find in the F-150 Lightning, and you can also flip and tumble it around to help you keep larger items inside the bed, depending on the dimension of that item. No modern truck would be complete without some really outrageous wheels and tires, so we have 275 width tires back here running on 24-inch alloy wheels. Remember, this is the RST trim. Obviously, the work truck trim is going to get different tires and wheels. We're told to expect 18-inch wheels on that base model. If you want to get your hands on the new Silverado EV, pre-orders are available on the Chevy website. Again, if you want to get your hands on the less expensive models, however, that may take some time. The work truck version is going to go first, then the most expensive version of the Silverado EV is going to go next, followed at some point later by the other versions, and they haven't told us exactly when that's going to happen. Theoretically, there will be a just barely under $40,000 version of the Silverado EV, but they haven't said exactly what's going to be on that or when that is going to happen. There will also be smaller battery pack versions coming at some later date. Expect those to happen sometime in calendar year 2024. That product cadence is going to be a little bit different than we see in the F-150 Lightning. The F-150 Lightning is going to go on sale before the Silverado EV, and some of those lower end trims are going to be available before the ones on the Silverado EV as well. But the F-150 Lightning has disappointed me on the spec sheet just a tiny little bit because it's not going to support 800-volt charging, and if you're interested in fast DC charging, road tripping, etc., you're probably going to want to wait for the Silverado EV. The F-150 Lightning is going to charge at a rate of about 150 kW. This is going to charge more than twice as fast. So if you want to gain range quickly, you probably want a Silverado EV, but you're going to have to wait for it. Let me know what you think about all that down there in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and of course stay tuned, because given time, I will eventually be driving a Silverado EV. And if you want to know how I should expect this to be sure and stay tuned because I will be driving the Hummer EV in about 3 weeks. I'll see all of you later.